FC25 is here tomorrow and I'm pretty excited. Of course, if you're watching this video, you're either excited to or already own the game. To celebrate, I thought I'd talk about 10 of the teams that I'm actually really hyped to use in my first few career mode saves. We've got teams that are returning to the game, teams that are now licensed, and teams that are just in different situations when compared to what they were in on FC24. One last thing, of course I'm making this video before FC25 comes out, so while all of these saves are for FC25, the footage that you'll see is last year's game. Sorry about that, but let's get started, and it's a team that I know a lot of people are going to use. Roma are back, and they're licensed again, and they've also just sacked their manager in real life. How could this not be the dream career mode save? If you think that you want to do this save too, you'll be replacing the club legend Daniele De Rossi as a manager, but I'm sure EA won't have actually replaced him by the time the game releases, so you can just continue his legacy instead if that's what you prefer. He was a big part of the change in transfer strategy that Roma had, which pivoted from signing older players to focusing on young players who can play in different roles. With the new tactics system in FC25, you can do the exact same thing. Maybe this transfer strategy was the reason that he was sacked just a few days before the game got released, but I don't see a reason to change it. While we're talking about tactics, why not check out the tactic database that I've made for FC25? Share codes haven't been added to it just yet, but I've put 10 historic tactics for every team mentioned in this video into the database. Even if you're not interested in playing as Roma, you can copy these tactics and play like 2021 Jose, 1984 Sven, or 2001 Fabio Capello, who all managed in Roma at some point. There's actually over 100 tactics on the database already that you can look through, and I'm constantly updating it with the help of my Discord. Anyway, let's get back to talking about saves. Rebuilding Roma to become Europe's best team will take a while, and you won't have the biggest budget, and not that many of your players will have that much potential. But with good enough scouts, I'm sure you can eventually find the next Francesco Totti or Daniele De Rossi in your academy. So that's why I think Roma might be my first save on FC25. I only say might because, like everyone else, I do also like playing with my favourite team. For me, that team is Nottingham Forest, and I also think I have to recommend them for you to consider for your saves too. Forest are in a pretty good position to push into the top half of the Premier League. Anyone who's paid attention to this league will know players like Alanga, Chris Wood and Hudson-Odoi. They all have a lot of talent, but Forest have actually managed to build a team that's really balanced for a FIFA career mode save. There's a lot of pace in every single position, there's plenty of playmakers, there's several South Americans, and there's even a Serbian centre-back that idolised and plays like Nemanja Vidic. Of course, Forest had their issues off the pitch last year with points deduction, but you've got to imagine that the squad has enough potential for about 5 or 6 of their players to actually get to 85 overall if dynamic potential works in FIFA 25. The one issue with Forest though is their academy. Since promotion, they've not given a single debut to an academy player in real life. This makes me think that any Forest save should really be about producing Premier League players from Nottingham, while also trying to finish in the top half and maybe eventually even the Europa League spots. It should be a fun save building Forest up and developing the players to get that top half finish, but sometimes you want to be going for the title in Season 1. How about a team that is rivals with 4 other top teams and has one of the most famous managers in the league that you might not have used for a long time? Those 3 reasons are why I think I'll be giving Jose's Fenerbahce a go pretty early on. Not only is Jose Mourinho the new manager of Fenerbahce, but the Turkish Super League is more interesting to an outsider now than it has been for ages. Fenerbahce are my choice for a save in this league, but you could easily pick Besiktas, Galatasaray or Trabzonspor, and what I like about this save is that your biggest rivals have Osimhen for a season, while you have a manager that basically has to win the league just to keep any sort of positive reputation in the European game. Jose, of course, is a European tournament specialist, so a couple of seasons building your team up in Turkey could realistically end up with a Europa League win, and that could be the end of your save. Or you could push on and try and win the Champions League either with Fenerbahce or move back to a major club and win yet another Champions League in yet another country with Jose Mourinho. If I'm being totally honest, Jose Mourinho is the biggest reason to do this save. He's been missing as a playable manager since he was at Manchester United because, as we mentioned earlier, Roma were unlicensed for a few years. But let's be honest, this is one of the last times we'll be able to use the special one. If he flops in Turkey, he'll probably retire or go to an even smaller league that might not even be on FIFA, so let's make the most of Jose Mourinho while we still have him. Of course, the Turkish league is known for being full of old players and old managers, so you could switch strategy and make a young successful team with Jose Mourinho. He's done it before, most famously at Chelsea in 2005, and is actually one of their owners' other clubs that I'm going to be talking about next. You might not have realised that Todd Boehly has a different club, Strasbourg in France, and this club's in a totally different position to Chelsea, but because they're owned by the same guy, you can actually make quite a few cool storylines out of the save, and that's why I'm most interested to use them on FC25. I think the coolest save could be one where you loan as many players as you can from Chelsea, but also have to accept every single bid for any of your players if it comes from Chelsea. I think that this is already kind of how the relationship works in real life, but I think it would be interesting to have to do something like this inside career mode. At least you know with Todd as your chairman that you'll never have any money issues, but there are two clubs returning to the game that did have massive issues with their finances. In fact, it seems like ages since both Malaga and Deportivo La Coruña were on the game, but I legitimately cannot wait to use either of them. Both of them are massive clubs in Spain, both of them have large stadiums that are in the game, and I've had super fun saves with both in the past, and that's why I can't wait to rebuild both of them this year. Let's start by talking about Deportivo, who won La Liga in 2000 and were actually runner-up 5 times during that period as one of the best teams in Spain. This kind of undersells how interesting their rise was, because unlike someone like Leicester, who were second division regulars and went on to win the league, Deportivo for a large part of their history were rarely higher than Division 4. They recovered from the 4th division and £250 million of debt to become Spanish champions in under 15 years, so rebuilding them from the 2nd division does sound like quite an easy save. But still, if you're not quite sure who Deportivo are or why they'd be a fun save, just search for a list of their former players and you'll understand the hype. On the other hand, Malaga are a firm FIFA favourite that anyone over the age of 20 will probably have done a save with in the past. At one point, they were the richest team in FIFA when they had Santi Cazorla, Van Nistelrooy, Demichelis, Isco and Jeremy Toulalan. In fact, Malaga were only seconds away from the 2013 Champions League semi-final until Dortmund scored an offside goal that was actually judged to be legal and they got knocked out of the tournament. In real life, everything since then started to slowly unravel. They tried to rebuild their stadium but couldn't get permission, the big transfer budgets dried up, and they got double relegated off FIFA a few years ago. Now they're back, I'm excited to take over a club and a stadium that I used so much back on FIFA 13, and one that I really didn't realise I'd miss until they suddenly vanished for FC24. There's a disappointingly long list of teams who looked like they could vanish from FIFA in the past few years. One of them was Birmingham City, who are now going in the total opposite direction. They want to fight their way back to the Premier League from League One, and it doesn't matter how much they have to spend. Imagine managing in League One with a team that has a Japanese international, a Korean international, a striker that costs £10 million, and a squad that's better than half of the Championship. Well, that's exactly what Birmingham City are. If you watched a video I made with Aston Villa on FIFA 17 a few weeks ago, you'll know what I'm about to suggest. Basically, you're going to do everything you can to break the points record in Season 1. This sounds like it shouldn't be too tough, but the League 1 points record is still 103 from when Wolves spent time at this level back in 2014. The Wolves team only lost 5 games from their 46, where they drew 10 and won 31. It doesn't sound like massive totals, but this is going to be tough to do in career mode. I think that this Birmingham City team is capable of beating this in real life too, but I think for a short-term FIFA save, there's not a better first save you can do. It lets you learn the game at a lower level, it gives you the chance to win a lot of games, and you have a target that was set by one of your biggest rivals. I can promise that chasing a points total down is way more fun than chasing first place, especially when you've got a team that's this much better than every other team in the league. So that's why I'm probably going to be doing this save first, and it's the one that I'm most excited for by a lot. So that's the saves that I can't wait to play when the game comes out tomorrow. Let me know your saves in the comments below, because if the game is as good as we want it to be, I'll get through these ones pretty damn quickly. But thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe so you can help me hit 100,000 subscribers, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you later. Cheers and goodbye.